well, to things I probably couldn't afford, basically. And I'm sick of hearing about the fees office.
And the rules.
It's the fees office was actually written by the MPs, so you can't really use that as an excuse, I'm afraid. And I feel really aggrieved because you have done good work, certainly in Crowthorne, and I know you've done it for the rest of your constituents. But all that you've done has now been wiped away because of the greed that we all see.
Yeah.
I'm a Conservative voter, or at least I have been until now, but I don't find I can vote Conservative if you're running for that office. So I would please ask, if you're not self-serving, then you would actually give the constituents a chance of putting somebody up for a candidate that would actually be acceptable to them. But at the moment, I don't find you are, and I'm sorry to say that because I think you have done good work in the past. So you can imagine we're all extremely angry about this because you've ruined our constituency basically, and none of us wanted that to happen. But you can't really get away with this. You've been one of the highest claimants of this whole issue, and no amount of apology will ever change people's opinion on what you've stood for.
Jean, I'm sorry you feel like that, because I've worked closely with you, and thank you for the kind remarks about what I've done in Crowthorne, which was very, very important to me. I could go through every item of those expenses. In fact, the cleaning figure looks completely preposterous, and certainly I think it's not right.
Pay it back then.
But no, I don't recognise an accurate figure, but we can talk about that later. The only one I would say is that it was a flood that caused the last break. That's what I thought. I just want you to know what it was.
Insurance! Everyone else has to have insurance.
But we're now rightly amended the rules. We've now rightly amended the rules.
Only after you took your money.
So that people do not have any furnishings, and I have not ever claimed for major furnishings at all. Can I just say on the level of my MP's expenses, if you look at the last published year's figures, which were 07, 08, I was well into the lowest third of spenders, well into the lowest third. My expenses are less than most MPs because I am very conscious. But it is
trousers for their own benefit.
Thank you. My name's Steve Young. I'm a local resident in Bracknell. I'm self-employed. I employ an accountant to do my books. If anything goes wrong and I don't pick up on it, it's me that goes to jail, not my accountant. You said you made a gross error of judgment. I think that is a gross misrepresentation. I really do. You're an MP. Did you not check for yourself? Did you not have a look to see if you should be claiming or how much you should be claiming? The people in here tonight must be showing you should stand down.
Stand down. Stand down. Stand down.
Lady at the top, please.
Had this expenses scandal not been uncovered by the Telegraph, would you have continued to claim for your second payer?
No, because I'd already switched to the London which I answered a moment ago. So the answer to that is no. At the first possible opportunity when it came in the new financial year, I wrote to the Fees Office in March, and it actually took place in April. But to answer your question as well, I am the only MP so far involved in the nearly 200 Telegraph expenses scandal, but actually would have done it anyway because I submitted myself to this internal examination. It was automatic, came out not from the Telegraph.
Thanks. Have you heard this? Thank you. Stan Cornford. I too have been here for 40 years. It must have been a good year in 1969. Looking back, we're all convinced you've been a good constituency MP, Mr. Mackay, and I particularly in one instance, and can thank you for that. In the more recent past, yes, we all regard what has been happening as sort of scandalous, In the present, you've got balls appearing here tonight. For the future, the problem with revolutions is that you never know what is going to follow them, whether they're quiet or anything else. It seems to me that we have an opportunity now with our existing members to change the rules to something that the nation as a whole will seem reasonable. When people were sent to Bracknell for courses lasting several years, they were given a married quarter. Why not married quarters owned by Ministry of Defence, government, for MPs? Not just a few ministers, but for any MP who needs it in London. No expenses, just a married quarter, and whatever goes.
Thank you. Just, you want to answer that?
Just yes, very briefly. I think that is a good idea. It's a potential idea. There are lots of ideas floating. And this is what Sir Christopher Kelly is going to look at. And he's going to give recommendations. And I believe that all MPs should accept in advance, or whatever his recommendations are, that we decide to accept them. But what I don't think is a good idea is that MPs set their own rules for expenses, allowances or salaries. It's invidious. It should always be done by an independent outside person, and we should accept whatever they decide, which has to happen in many other organisations and many other parts of the public sector.
Thank you. The lady here in the green.
Yeah.
Hello, Andrew. My name is Pauline. Can I ask my question seated?
Need to take the microphone to your...
Okay. This is kind of on a personal level. I've got a personal issue that is bothering my family, and I've been trying to have, a one-to-one, with you. I've been phoning your offices in Bracknell. I've been phoning your offices in London, and it has not been possible for me to have time with you, because I've got an immigration issue that is very pressing at the moment, and I would love to. That's why I came this evening to actually ask for an appointment, if it is possible, with you tonight, sometime, to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And the gentleman here, please.
Mackay, hello. I'm Steve Wells, a resident of Bracknell. I just want to take up an issue that was taken up over here about the issues on the Green Book. You've said that you've met the rules of the Green Book. Can I just quote this one to you? The additional cost allowance reimburses MPs for expenses incurred when staying away from their main residence for the purposes of performing their parliamentary duties. This excludes expenses that have been incurred for purely personal purposes. Can I ask why, with your main home in London, some 35 miles away, you require a house 100 miles away to perform your parliamentary duties?
I can make that clear straight away, and actually it has been in the newspapers. I elect my main home to be in Bromsgrove, and I claim on the second home in London.
Thank you.
Doesn't answer the question.
The gentleman
Parliamentary duties.
Mr. Mackay, my name is Tim Trent. You'll probably recognise me from your inbox and various other things. If I can refer you to email correspondence you and I had on the 12th of May, I wrote to you and said briefly that whatever other parties do, the Conservatives should be seen to sweep out the excesses. I understand that the claims were within the rules, but this is not about rules. This is about image, sleaze and nest feathering. All perceived to be guilty of sharp practice should lose the whip, no exceptions. If that means 100% new teams, so be it. We were very much hoping that you have claimed only what is to be perceived as fair and reasonable. It seems that you have not, because we would be sorry to lose you, but no exceptions. And your reply to me that day, on the 12th of May, was, "Dear Mr. Trent, absolutely right." So, Mr. Mackay, do you think you should lose the whip?
That has been a decision for David Cameron, who has looked at each.
Do you think?
Do I think? No, because the last person here to want to hide behind the rules. I was acting within the rules. Everybody who's not, like claiming a rule
Unbelievable.
exists, obviously should have the whip removed. So I do stand by my response. And I very clearly remember, Mr. Trent, our email exchange.